My name is Leon Jackson, and I'm one of the Courageous 12.
Thank you.
I was born in a little small town named McIntosh, Florida, just south of Gainesville, Florida. In my early days, my mother and father separated, and my mother decided to relocate here to St. Petersburg.
But like many southern towns, during the early 1900s through the 20s and 30s and 40s and into the 50s, St. Petersburg was a pretty heavily segregated city. From the Vinoy to all these hotels, even the streets, black labor created this city. Throughout the years of the early part of St. Petersburg and its police force, there were no black police officers. And eventually, because of a lot of the civil rights laws, as we entered the 40s and mostly into the 50s and early 60s, a lot of that had to change.
So far this year, we have seen many cities in the southern part of the United States desegregate public facilities.
I graduated from Gibbs High School, class of 1958. In 1963, prior to joining the St. Petersburg Police Department, I was waiting tables at a cafeteria, and Officer Jimmy King approached me about becoming a police officer. At first, I told him I didn't want to become a police officer. Then he was working with Officer Freddie Crawford, and the two of them recruited me. So I went down to City Hall and filled out an application. When I went to the Police Academy on October 3rd, 1968, that was the first integrated classroom I had ever attended. There were roughly about 20 white police officers and 2 African-American police officers, Officer Robert Keyes and me. I was 23 years old when I was hired on the St. Petersburg Police Department on October 3rd, 1968.
As the courts pretty much demanded that the cities start hiring African-Americans in those type positions, the city was forced to hire black police officers. But there were rules.
We were always assigned to work in the African-American neighborhood only. We could only investigate complaints from African-American citizens. We could only arrest African-American citizens.
Black police officers did not carry weapons. They were not allowed to arrest white people. And then, of course, they were forced to only police in the African-American neighborhoods.
So we started having meetings among ourselves at different one of our homes to discuss the racial attitude that was against us. In one of those meetings, we decided to request a meeting with the chief of police. The chief of police met with us twice, and he didn't do anything about our complaints. So we requested a third meeting, and at that point, the chief refused to meet with us anymore. So in one of those meetings, our leader, a great leader, Freddie Crawford, came up with an idea. Officer Crawford said, let's sue him. On May 11th, 1965, Attorney James Sanderman filed a lawsuit in federal court in Tampa. On March 31st and April 1st of 1966, we went to federal court in Tampa, and Judge Joseph Lieb ruled against us and ruled in favor of the police department. So what happened is this. Attorney Sanderman told us we could file an appeal. So he said he would contact the NAACP and ask the NAACP would they file the appeal for us. On August 1st, 1968, the appeals court ruled in our favor. and we won that lawsuit.
My name is Yala Ford, and I'll be creating a piece that will commemorate the 12 courageous men that served in St. Petersburg, Florida. This can be a place where we reflect on the past wrongdoings and how we make right for it. And I think that that's the intersection that I constantly try to address. Art can be a conduit of hope and light. So my perspective is always trying to think about everyone in their place and how we can make it brighter, right? And how we use the soil that we have in order to water and grow and nurture something better.
And this is still not even a generation away from that Courageous 12 era, right? So now we have a black police chief in the city, and historically, last November, the city elected its first African-American mayor. Those guys are here and did what they did and do what they do because of the Courageous 12.
This is a historical piece, and I think that this will give it more conversation and more of a historical connection to the importance of integration.
When they succeeded, I mean, it set the mark of what could happen, of what you could really do if enough people got behind the effort.
It felt like we had accomplished our mission. It was a long haul, but we accomplished what we set out to do. I want to call the name of all of the Courageous 12, starting with Adam Baker, Freddie Crawford, Raymond DeLoach, Charles Holland, Leon Jackson, Robert Keyes, Primus Killen, James King, Johnny B. Lewis, Horace Nero, Jerry Stiles, and Nathaniel Wooten. That's the Courageous 12.